What's good, passport bros? What's happening? Just want to encourage you guys, if you haven't, to get your passport. I know this is something that we've pouting into you guys for the past 3, 4, 5 years since the passport bro movement has become strong. As you guys may have known or not known, if you haven't, go watch my interview with BMT. I'm gonna link his channel. Uh, I had a great interview with him, and I just wanted to piggyback on the interview as I've had some days to kind of think about, okay, did I really talk about the things that I wanted to talk about? I didn't really talk about a lot of things that I should have talked about because there were other people on the panel, which was very nice, with like dialogues, with like different opinions, with like different mindsets. But I didn't I didn't really talk much about dating. I didn't really talk much about cost of living. I talked a little bit more about cost of living, apartments, but I didn't really talk about just day-to-day life from living in Nigeria since December 2022. If you guys don't know, I moved here from Miami Beach, South Beach. If you guys watch my older videos, my older videos, you'll see that I was making videos in the Matrix. I was making videos in Miami. And that transition to where I am now in Nigeria, which I've learned a lot from being here for over a year now. Very interesting living outside the United States, which I know, God's willing, I will never ever live in the United States ever again. It just doesn't make sense. There's no reason for me to live in the United States again, because it's just getting worse. There's so much going on. I mean, the cost of living is just extremely high. Rent is high. Everybody, the cars are getting repoed. People are homeless. There's drug addicts all over the place. And then it's not even safe. And, so there was a guy that got on the podcast. I'm not sure if he ever came to Nigeria. He said he came to Nigeria, but I don't think he did. I just wanted to kind of reveal the interview that I had. And the reason why I'm bringing this guy up is just to tell you guys, especially if you're living in the United States, you're a black man, you're trying to decide where to travel to, how to travel, you have to be careful who you listen to. You have to be very, very careful who you listen to. Number one, if you want to go to a country, you have to listen to people that have actually been to that country or that live in that country. You understand what I'm saying? So they can give you a candid advice, a candid look of if you were here from your eyes, as if you were me living here now, you're living through me. Like, okay, how is Nigeria? How is it? Is it what people say it is? Is it scary like people say it is? Is it unsafe? Are people gonna get snatched off the street, kidnapped every day? Like, all of that, you have to ask someone that's been there. But when you're on a podcast with someone that's never been to a country, that's just spilling talking points that they can just Google. It's very, very scary for people that want to travel, that's already scared to travel, because the United States has programmed people to stay there, and they've used all kind of tactics to keep you there, including owning all the news agencies that report things from other countries, right? So there's certain countries that you'll never see anything good come out of that country from the media unless you actually go there. So be careful if you want to travel. Be careful who you listen to. It's very, very important to learn from people that actually travel. I've been to 15 countries. You can ask me my experience with any country that I've been to, and I'll tell you. I'll tell you where I stayed. I'll tell you the kind of people I met, languages, barriers. You can't be sitting in the United States and be listening to a podcast about a country that another person that's in the United States never been to. There's no point you listen to someone else just spilling, oh, I'm spilling facts, and there's kidnappings there, and the people are getting snatched off the street, and it's not sweet, and blah, 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 blah. But that's a talking point. Those are things that you can actually Google or look on the internet, right? It's not reality. It's not a fact. It's like me saying, don't visit the United States. I've never been to the United States, but I've heard that people are getting kidnapped, and 200 people got kidnapped in Montana. And you're like, but I want to go to Miami to visit. And you're like, no, don't go. It's very unsafe. But they got kidnapped in Montana. I ain't trying to go to Montana. Like, how many tourists go to Montana, right? Like Montana, like, You know what I'm saying? Like Idaho, ain't nobody trying to go over there. Them people trying to leave. You know what I'm saying? Especially Idaho. I mean, some people love Idaho. I've never been there. Montana, I've passed through there. Montana is actually very beautiful. But tourists ain't trying to go there. So if something happens there, is it gonna scare you from going to LA to visit or to go to Miami South Beach to visit? It doesn't make any sense. So those are talking points. But if I've been to Miami and I'm telling you, yo, Miami is cool. I'm from Miami. South Beach is cool. You can walk up and down Ocean Drive. There's a lot to see. There's restaurants. And then the beach is right there. You can just visit the beach. It's long lengths of beach. You can go from First Avenue all the way down. You can go to the beach in Sunny Isles. You can go to the nude beach at Hanover Beach. That's information coming from someone that's been there, that's from there. So that I can give you that information because I'm from there. I won't be spilling talking points of don't go to America. People are getting kidnapped and the history of America and all these wars and blah 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 blah. Those has nothing to do with visiting. That has nothing to do with you as a tourist. As okay, should I actually come and visit Miami? Should I actually come and visit, Lagos, Nigeria? Should I actually come visit Abuja? Right? So be very, very careful, guys, who you listen to on these podcasts, on the internet. Be very careful. The first thing you need to ask them is, have you been there? And if they say I've been there, ask them, how was your experience there? If you notice, the guy did not talk about any of his experiences in Nigeria because he never came to Nigeria. He said he came to Nigeria. And I actually asked him, I said, okay, I asked him because I wanted to get more into his experience, but he got defensive. A lot of our people, the reason why a lot of our people, we Americans, especially the black community, are in the bottom of the totem pole, is we always want to prove a point. Nobody cares about your point. Nobody really cares about your point. People just want to show up to spaces and just prove a point. Nobody cares. You go to Asia, you go to all these people, all these countries. They're so advanced. They're not trying to prove a point. They're actually trying to use information to their advantage, right? I met a Russian guy last week at a nice restaurant, and I was having a conversation with him. His table was right next to mine, and it was like, yeah, I moved my family, all my family, my 2 kids and wife. I moved them to Nigeria. And I was like, why? He was like, I had a business proposition. I invested $2.5 million in a hotel and a resort, and it's being built. And he showed me everything on his phone, and it's a very, very beautiful site. And the beach that I go to is actually close to it, and I actually always wonder, what are they building over there? What are these people building? Because there's sand filling, like it's part of the ocean, but there's sand filling it to build part of the resort. So people are spending millions, and he's part of the other investors. So these are some of the things that we can tap into as Black Americans, but we're not going to do it because we're so dumbed down by the government, the CIA, all everything. Like, it's not a conspiracy theorist. Like, it's literally how we're programmed. We're programmed to be in the bottom, to argue everything. How can you come to a podcast and argue with someone or people that have been to a certain country that you've not been to, that you claim you've been to, right? You have no proof or evidence. You're saying if you want receipts, like, no, our talking points are so meaningless. You know what I'm saying? And there was another guy. Shout out to the guy. He has been to Nigeria. He actually talked about his experience in Nigeria, which is not talking points. This is not stuff that you can find on the internet. It's actually places that, he actually went. He had experience. He was very passionate about it because he's been here, and he didn't just stay in Lagos. He went to different cities. So when people are telling you, Nigeria's not safe, don't go, people got kidnapped, you have to question these people. Like, okay, what kind of information is this? Have you been there? Did you get kidnapped? Right? People are getting kidnapped in the United States every year. I even mentioned that in a podcast. It just went over people's heads because people are programmed to think a certain way about certain places. Especially when it comes to Africa, a lot of people are scared. A lot of people are really scared to come to Africa. A lot of people have written Africa off. I'm not going over there. It's trash. But if you come here, especially if you come to Nigeria, what your eyes will see, your mind will never believe, because it's not like anything that you've been programmed to think of. This is why a lot of people are scared to come here. And another thing that a lot of people talk about is the visa process. As Americans, we have no business talking about a visa process. Do you know how hard it is for people to go into the United States to visit? Some people wait 3-4 years to get a visiting visa. Some people wait 4 or 5 years for an interview, not even the visa, an interview, just to step in the embassy and talk to someone only to be rejected. And we Americans are so spoiled and entitled. We're talking about, oh, the visa process to come to Nigeria is tedious. Yeah, it is. I had to fly to Atlanta from Miami twice. I had to fly twice because I forgot a little document, right? So all this, well, it's because your parents are from there, blah, 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 blah. No, I had to do the same thing that you're doing. I'm American. I have a blue passport. I had to do the same thing that everybody's doing. So people try to give excuses and write people off and have all this talking points about certain places, which is fine. Another thing that I want to mention is if you don't like certain places, you don't have to talk ish about it. Like, for example, I've noticed a lot of black men from America, a lot of us, we don't like black women anymore because we've been written off. We've basically just written off black women just because of our experiences in the US. And our mind can comprehend that there might be black women in other places that are way more feminine, way more beautiful, way more natural. Like, we give her what we want. Like, we can't fathom it. We just think black women are just black women everywhere. Right? That's just the ignorance of the brainwash that we've been programmed to be. And me, I've been to so many different countries that I know that if you meet an Afro-Colombian, she's way different from an African American. If you meet a Nigerian, let me bust your bubble. If you meet a Nigerian woman in Nigeria, especially the down-to-earth traditional ones, if you meet a Nigerian girl in Nigeria and a Nigerian girl in the United States, it's like night and day. It's like night and day, especially those that have been there for like 4 or 5 years in the US. They're already westernized. They're already written off. So you can't compare. You can't say I dated a Brazilian girl in the US and she was westernized, so I ain't going to Brazil because they are like that. No, you have to go to the natural habitat and experience who they really are in their culture. Because we're here in Africa, in Nigeria, they respect masculinity. Masculinity goes up. If I pull up to a club and there are women here, they will let me in first before the women. As a man, especially if they think that I'm somebody, they will let me in the club before women. In the United States, all the women go in first and they ain't gonna pay. Here, I go in first, especially if I'm like somebody, or if I'm on a table, or if they just know that, okay, this guy is somebody. I will go in first because masculinity still reigns in certain countries. But a lot of you can fathom that because you've been so conditioned in the United States that you can't think anything of Africa or black people anywhere in the world. Back to my point, if you don't like black women, it's fine. It's fine. I'm a big advocate of your preference. Your preference is your preference. If you want to go to Asia, if you want to leave the United States and you don't want to see any more black women, you don't want to date any more black women, that's fine with me. You can go to Asia, you can go to South, I've dated beautiful Asian women outside of the United States. And yes, a lot of them are feminine. And no country is a utopia where you're just going to go and everything's just going to be rosy, right? But if you want Asian women, go to Asian countries, plan that, listen to Asian channels or passport bros in Asian countries, right? That'll help you out. Don't talk ish about, and that's a problem with us, especially black Americans. I see that a lot. We always just write things. When we write somebody off or we write people off, we just start talking ish. We just start talking ish, which is very, very bad. This is one of the reasons why we're behind. So talking about history and, the leaders over there are corrupt. So the leaders in the United States are not corrupt. The United States is the most corrupt, least safe country to live in any Western country. You're more likely to die of gun violence in the United States 10 times more than you are in Nigeria. Because there's no guns on the street here. There's no guns. There's no regular people with guns. Regular people don't have guns here. Regular people do not have weapons here. When you see weapons, they're with the police and stuff. When you hear about people getting kidnapped and stuff like that, that's way on the northern part of the country that you don't even want to go anyway. There's a places that you're not even gonna step foot anyway. Like my analogy that I just gave of if people are getting murked in Montana or Idaho, and you say I'm not gonna go to the United States because of that, because somebody have scared you, because they're talking about, they're using talking points to scare you. It's very disingenuous. So as passport bros, we need to encourage each other. If you want to come to Africa, if you love black women, African black women, or you're not even sure what to expect, right? Hit me up, email me, book a consultation. We'll talk. I'm here, right? Who you listen to is very important. Who you listen to is very important. So if somebody says, "Oh, I have receipts. I visited this place," but they never talk about any of the experiences, and they're just talking about, "Oh, how corrupt the leaders are," or "I heard this happened here," blah blah blah. That has nothing to do with you as a tourist, because as a tourist, you're gonna come to Lagos, Nigeria. You're gonna come to Abuja. These are places that are filled with people, a lot of money, a lot of wealth, a lot of places to go, a lot of nice hotels. A lot of foreigners are here. A lot of foreigners are here. A lot of foreigners are investing here. Unfortunately, not a lot of black people. A lot of whites, a lot of Russians, a lot of Indians, a lot of Middle Eastern, a lot of Middle Easterns, a lot of Europeans, Russians, because these people think outside of the box. These people actually come and say, okay, let me go and see if I can invest millions and billions of dollars in this country in Africa, as to suppose my country, right? So these people are winning. This is why these white people and these other white countries have wealth, and we black people from America just talk, 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 talk. That's all we do. Just talk, talk, talk. We just want to get on podcasts and just run our mouth and just have talking points, which is fine. We like the arguments. We like the different arguments. But if I'm sitting there saying, okay, I want to hear, I'm thinking, okay, when is he going to start talking about his experience? Because people, the audience, the people listening to this podcast, they want to hear what will happen if they go. Like, okay, what was your experience? We know the government is corrupt. The government is corrupt everywhere. We know somebody got kidnapped. People got kidnapped. There are 500,000 people that get kidnapped every year in the U.S. Nobody talks about that. Till now, nobody responded to that. So we need to really, really be careful who we listen to, especially when in this space, in the internet, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, everywhere, TikTok. Listen to people that have been somewhere. Ask questions. Ask. If you're on a podcast and somebody's running their mouth about, don't go there, it's not safe, ask them, did you get kidnapped while you're there? Did somebody rob you? Like, what happened? Why are you talking like this? There was a guy that posed a question. I think it led to super chat and said, yes, tell us about where you stayed in Lagos, Nigeria. No answer. So please, guys, be careful who you listen to. It's very important for me to help you guys with your travel experience, especially when it comes to Nigeria, because I'm here. Drop a comment, subscribe, like, comment. My Cash App is down there. Leave a Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. My email is there. Email me, right? I respond really quickly. And I just want to help you guys have a better experience when it comes to West Africa. All right? Peace out, guys.